Earlier today, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said America is winning the war and achieving their objectives. He also says that while America is ramping up its strikes, Iran is falling behind.
For example, today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, the last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles they've been capable of firing yet.
With me now to discuss where we are in this war now in its 11th day, I'm joined by military and national security expert Christian Leuprecht. Christian, good morning. As always, great to see you. Let's begin with your agreement or disagreement. How do you assess the comments from Hegseth? Do you think that the U.S. is winning this war at this moment?
Well, the U.S. is going after a lot of targets. It's made a big deal about taking out the Iranian Navy. It's done a good job at taking out, in particular, the missile launchers. But look, the stated objectives of the conflict are to deny Iran the ability to acquire a nuclear bomb. So that means it has to be able to somehow neutralize or get its hand on the enriched uranium. That it wants to deny Iran the ability to launch and acquire missiles, and so that will require consistent pressure on those capabilities, and that it wants to deny Iran the ability to finance and to operate these militia groups throughout the region. So I would say in that regard, just based on the way you introduced the story here, the number of launches, even of drones that Iran has been able to get off, I would say the U.S. is still some ways from achieving its stated objectives.
How long can Iran sustain U.S. strikes?
That's a great question. So the Iranian strategy is pretty clear. First, it's trying to exhaust the interceptors by the United States and its partners of missiles and of drones. It is also going systematically after key civilian infrastructure. It's not by accident that it's going after desalination plants. 90% of the drinkable water in much of the region is generated by desalination. You take out desalination plants or the one pipeline that connects a plant, for instance, to Riyadh and supplies much of its drinking water, this will have hugely disruptive effects. And the third objective is to raise the political and economic costs for the region. And the fourth is to raise the oil price. So it's trying to get pressure from within the region on the Trump administration and pressure on the administration from inside the United States. And you can see this by the remarks made by the Iranian foreign minister that are almost perfectly calibrated at the at the MAGA movement, the voices in the MAGA movement that do not want Trump to engage in this conflict.
And your point about oil and energy, that seems to be one of Iran's weapons, if you will, one of their greatest weapons here, the ability to, yeah.
It shouldn't come as a surprise. Where did Trump go? First, he went after Venezuela, huge oil reserves and supplies. Now, after Iran, we've heard Trump's comments with regards to Canada. I think the first pillar in the Trump 2 agenda is to make the United States an energy-dominant powerhouse of the world. And it knows this because it needs energy, among other things, for the vast energy consumption that artificial intelligence is generating. And so, absolutely, this is very much about oil, but it's also about who controls the oil supplies, the energy security, because, of course, China procures much of its oil from Venezuela and from Iran. So taking out those two suppliers will put increasing pressure on China and basically only leaves Russia as its main supplier.
Christian, we're going to leave it there for this morning. Thank you so much. Appreciate speaking with you. Christian Leuprecht is a military and national security expert.